guys, I'm very much pleased to welcome you to a video shooting that we did with other Cheveners at the University of Sussex due to people that have been requesting for interview tips in their upcoming interviews. So just a disclaimer, this is not the opinion of the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office of the Chevening, but it is entirely based on our experiences as Chevening scholars from different continents. So we're hoping that this video that we'll be doing will be very informative for you, and we wish you all the best in your upcoming interview. Congratulations once again to all the people that have made it so far for the interview stage for this year's Chevening scholarship. So for the past few weeks or months, we have been receiving messages from people that they want to know tips or have the tips to be able to make it to the interview stage. So today we're here, Cheveners from different continents at the University of Sussex, to give you tips, you do's and the don'ts for your Chevening interview. So
guys, my name is Akintunde Babatunde. I'm from Nigeria. I'm studying media practice for development and social change at Sussex University.
he's our media guru.
No,
so, yeah.
that's not it. So I'll be sharing my tips. My experience with you guys about the Chevening interview and all that.
And I am Fatou Jeng from the Gambia, doing my master's in environment development and policy, and we'll also be sharing some of the tips.
Fatou with the vibe.
Yay!
I'm Aline Parreira. I'm a Chevener from Brazil. I'm studying social development here at Sussex.
I'm Qazi Zawad Hussain. I'm from Bangladesh and I'm studying Food and Development Masters at Institute of Development Studies.
But guys, we are studying
So
development,
fancy.
Yeah,
food and development,
Social development.
environment development,
media practice for development and social change.
development rounds
We are
the
the
world.
development people.
That's Sussex is the first in development study.
Yeah,
in the world, so
exactly.
that's
Yeah.
what
It only makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine, guys.
So, just so we can move on to the first thing that we want to share with you today, we'll just make sure that we look at it from the different questions that were asked while you were writing your essay. So we'll first look at the leadership question.
But then, Fatou, I was planning to have a physical interview,
Yeah.
and 3 days to my interview, like I was already preparing. A lot of folks already had their own, and I got emailed that they are today.
So it's gonna be alright.
I was just like, what's up? How would this be? I was confused. I was not expecting that. So we had to wait for like a month before they could, fix a virtual interview. So I just think maybe you may not be having physical interview, you may be having virtual interview, whatever it is. It's pretty much the same process. It's pretty much the same question. So you don't have to fret around, how virtual. Of course, get good internet, guys.
But yeah, and also I think it's very important that whatever the given time, you have to call that, like Microsoft Teams it is, that number, because I know one case where someone was waiting for them to call and he did not join.
Wow.
So they were trying to
no.
call him over the phone and his phone was in silent.
Wow.
So-
What happened?
Although he was a very good applicant, but because of not getting into
The
time,
technical
he
glitches.
could not make into last year.
Unfortunately.
that's
And from my own experience, I forgot to keep my passport nearby. So put your passport nearby.
So guys should just check the instructions.
Yeah.
You know the platform you'll be using for the interview,
Yeah.
right? Some will use Skype, some will be Zoom, some will be MS Teams. Just get to read the interview and then you prepare ahead. I think you don't have to be apprehensive about the interview process. So I think that's pretty much the housekeeping rules for virtual interview. Do you have an experience that you want to share?
Yeah. Actually, I did 2 times. So I was super nervous, and it was like this very formal setting.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird. It was in the consulate building in my city, and they had all these rules about leaving absolutely everything. You couldn't get into the room carrying a single piece of paper and things like that. I felt like I was more being judged somehow. I think it was more of this. Yeah, the vibe was kind of heavy.
Yeah,
But then with the online one, the last one, the successful one.
Sussex one that brought you to Sussex?
Yeah.
But I think I had a different experience from everyone because I selected my interview date the first day So I was the second applicant. The rest of the applicants all had their interviews virtually. And it's usually the same experience. You go to the consulate, you have to put everything aside, and there is like a big seat. You have 3 people facing you.
People wearing suits. Yeah.
So
I miss that.
yeah. So I actually enjoyed the in-person interview, but I know others enjoyed the virtual interview.
Yeah, right,
so,
right. And Kazi also had the virtual. So it's, it's a mix of experiences.
Yeah.
So we are able to offer guidance to folks.
Because we still don't know like
We
what
still don't, I
type
don't know
of,
what
type of
difficult
application
times. So we
procedures.
have no idea
Yes.
how things would fly. In this upcoming interview. But that's fine. We can dive into the questions and see. So that's pretty much about the housekeeping rules, guys. So you don't have to fret. You don't have to bother about just be sure that you have at least 2 internet connectivity around you so that you can switch if one messes up. Read the instructions very carefully. Just be sure that you have your passport, like as he said. Be sure you join if it is MS Teams. Don't wait for a call.
Be sure you don't have anything embarrassing behind you on
I
camera.
know.
yeah. So you've heard everything that has been said, especially the need to have a proper internet connection, especially if you are having a virtual interview. So we'll just move straight into the questions that we asked. And that's the first thing I believe was they'll ask us to tell us about yourself.
Yeah.
Where you'll have the opportunity to just tell them what you do, what you're passionate about, but you always have to make it as brief
It's concise.
as possible.
It's have to be very concise and to the point.
Yeah, just your elevator pitch. Your elevator pitch. So,
Kind of an icebreaker
Yeah.
of sorts, yeah.
but you have to, hype yourself.
Yeah,
You know,
brand yourself.
It's just about package, about the brand.
yeah.
Because
First impression is
yeah,
very
you put a
important.
life to
Yeah.
your essay. You've done this fantastic, 500 essay about how you are a leader, how you've done a lot of things, but you have to put voice to that, because they already have your essay. They've checked it out. They've seen the stuff you're made of. That, of course, that was how you made the interview already. So, so you have to just, defend that. Yeah, it was not like someone wrote it for you or some kind of games that went into the essay writing process. So, introduce yourself in the most professional, but in the most, awesome way, guys.
yeah, and
Yes.
concise.
Yeah, maybe mention kind of a hobby you have, something like that. It's always interesting to have something like that too, because Chevening is not only about the masters that you're doing; it's also about the UK
The
experience.
vibe.
Yeah.
The vibe.
So maybe mention
The
something
red
you like.
team versus blue team.
Yeah, for example, I remember that I mentioned that I am a crazy Harry Potter maniac, and this kind of thing you can mention, just make it sound more
Team Harry
natural.
Potter.
So you say you have Harry Potter. You are a Harry Potter maniac. Do you have a scarf or anything?
I have a shirt,
Okay.
but now I'm pretending to be a serious person, so I'm not wearing it right now.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm not sure if I'm being successful at pretending I'm serious, but I'm trying.
We believe you.
So they will ask you also about your leadership experience.
Yeah, I sort of think, they would also ask you, because you have 4 questions in the essay, so most likely the experience will be around that for essay, even though some may be leading question, leading
Yes.
to another conversation, but it's pretty much around that. So
Yeah.
you said you are a leader.
Tell us maybe give us an instance where you were able to display a leadership.
Right.
So questions can be crafted in different ways. So I think for me, I was asked something like that. So what leadership skills I possess and how I was able to use this leadership skill. So I was able to mention my mobilization, communication, negotiation skills.
Climate change.
Exactly.
Pato.
Yeah, so I was able to use my experience, at least winning the first female president, and how I was able to use
You're
my
the president of the Gambia.
of the University of the Gambia.
Wow,
So
student union.
yes.
So that counts, guys.
So
That's interesting.
so you need to make sure that you spot out the leadership skills that you have and how you were able to utilize it to achieve a specific task, or maybe something that you were supposed to do.
just everything you've done to achieve something. The results. It's not about the process alone. Some people would say, "Oh, I have done this, I have done that." So what?
Yeah.
What's consequence has has that been made out of that? Try as much as possible to do that in a short while. And if you're not asked to stop, I will advise you keep talking.
Yes.
But don't talk.
Don't blab
Don't
along.
blab around. So until they ask you to say okay, enough, they'll ask you the next question. Speak speak your mind, be loud, and articulate your point in the most professional way. At every point in time, be proud of yourself, be proud of your
And
achievement.
try to show your passion
Yeah, of course.
towards
Exactly.
what you're
Yeah.
doing,
Right.
what
Don't
you
just
want
like
to
memorize the thing
Yeah,
and just like
yeah.
that. They will easily understand.
Of course.
like,
Yeah,
when you
because
do
I
that.
mean, they have read what you wrote in your essays
They have it on the
already.
desk like
So,
this.
Yeah.
and just to mention that your interview is just diverse. The panel will be diverse. So
Yeah.
you have a staff of the Chevening Secretariat. Sometimes you have the staff of the the UK British
Embassy.
Council in your
Yeah.
country, and most times you have a previous Chevening scholar.
Yeah.
So these guys have been there. They've been doing it for years. So they have the experience. So if you're the one that you've crammed the old essay and you are like blah 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 blah. Oh, anyways.
You
They
can
will-
do that, but that won't
No, but-
be a good side.
That
So,
will-
the,
yeah,
so the,
right.
the disadvantage of you cramming this will be you'll come and then realize that they will ask you different questions, or they will more or less coin the question in a different way, and then you might have prepared yourself for like a specific angle
right.
of answering the question. So always make sure that you always have like diverse ways you are able to, because at the end of the day
Exactly, yeah.
it comes down to the same. You can articulate yourself about your leadership experiences in different ways. So even if you've been engaged in community activities, not even like holding a top leadership position, but even if you were a member of a particular club, be able to make sure that you tell us about how you were able to, your membership was able to at least bring specific or certain result in some of the
Exactly.
projects that you've implemented.
Right.
So it doesn't usually have to always be that you've
I mean,
held
the,
top.
the fact is that you made it for the interview actually means what you've done is impressive.
Yeah.
And it's what, because for you to have made it to the interview, that means, yeah. So the most important thing is to put passion into it and defend that, yes, this thing is, you're the one that you've done this, and then you put life into it. That's the
Yeah.
most important thing.
Yeah.
But don't lie, don't brag, don't just say what you've not done, because
They will know.
They'll get that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
because exactly, they will know, and that's all sometimes the problem, because you might have maybe sort of like they use someone else's experience and want to bring it in the interview. So
Don't
they
do
will
that.
they will link it.
Yeah,
they will
don't
know.
do that.
I mean,
Yeah.
they'll plus or minus and say no. this
Yeah,
one's-
actually, during my interview, I could see one of the interviewers. Whenever I mentioned something, he would go into his computer. I could see he typing. He was googling everything that every initiative I was mentioning, every project that I mentioned that I wanted to be part of. He was like typing it all and researching it on Google.
Another important aspect of your interview is the issue of networking. So Chevening is really very particular about that as far as all our experiences are concerned. Because if you ask almost all the Cheveners, they will tell you that they have been asked questions around or about
That's
networking.
why you have someone from Bangladesh, someone from Brazil,
So different continents
Gambia.
and Nigeria. So all like when you're preparing for your interview or when you have the interview, make sure at least you remember or having in mind your networking experience. So people have different networking experience, ranging from their class activities, from the community engagements, from national engagements to international engagements. So it just depends on what exactly or how you've been able to utilize your networking.
And you don't have to like describe what networking
No,
is.
no, they
so
don't
do that.
Don't be
Yeah.
descriptive. Be
Yeah,
very
exactly.
practical about the
So
responses.
the
that you
thing
give.
is about your relationship building skills. How do you relate with people? How do you latch on that relationship to solve problems or to achieve a goal? And how has that impacted the world in a positive way? And when I say the world, I don't mean this bigger chain of things. I mean in your environment, within your family, within your your sphere of influence. How have you been able to leverage on people to achieve goals, right? It's pretty much that process. So in every engagement that you've done previously, how have you been able to latch on such relationships to solve problems, to achieve certain goals, and how has that made sense? And that's what we wanted to talk about. And then you also want to talk about how you want to take that forward in the UK. And that's important because you will be in the UK, you have to deal with a lot of things: culture shock, new environment,
stress.
academic stress, and
Whether
well, I mean, that's not even something I want to. I mean, that one is constant. And so sometimes you have to call Fato with the vibes to give you Gambian jollof. Like, I mean, she's from
I'm
Gambia.
still
from
waiting for
Nigeria.
my invitation.
Don't worry,
So
you have
you
your
come for
jollof.
Nigerian jollof is the best, so you come for it.
Oh no, let's not even have a jollof
we
competition
have to
here.
taste it to understand it.
Because you've tasted Nigerian jollof before, are you trying to deny
You
that?
you did not cook
Nigerian jollof is Nigerian
Kazi,
jollof.
don't
The
worry.
one you had, super.
Yeah, it was.
So we are changing the entire discussion to a jollof debate.
I mean, this is just saying you need that relationship. You need to, we can't exist in isolation as humans. I mean, especially because we are in a difficult time, and we need people. We need to, we need to latch on people's strength to keep pushing. So because forget it, guys, I can't keep calm is not really I can't keep calm. In that space, I mean,
I can't keep calm. Yeah.
I mean, it's not really, a child's play for you to study in the UK, a master's. It's not really easy, especially during Christmas time when you have deadlines. I mean, you see
And
Christmas
lockdown.
Yeah.
and love that. So it's crazy. So you have to like, how do you want to build on your relationship skills and then to improve the process in the UK? And despite all that, how would you also latch on that relationship to, build your own professional experience, your professional competence? How do you want to use all that to achieve goal and be better for it? How do you want to use that to improve Chevening, the Chevening brand, which is really important, so that's pretty much for me.
Yeah. So you usually so because they will ask you that and then ask you how you will be able to use that after you come back home. How will you still be able to utilize that Chevening network or the relationship building skills that you already have been able to?
So I can go to Gambia after now.
Exactly. So always.
I can go anywhere.
Let's go to Nigeria.
You're a citizen of the world.
Right. I mean, 165 countries.
Yeah.
That's
So
huge.
that's the rest of it, and the fact that Chevening has a massive network, and you're able to tap into it. Because, for example, this shooting that we're able to do today, it was because of the networking skills that we've been able to build already
Success is
with
the
other
key.
Cheveners.
and being
Exactly.
and being future leaders, it's all about network building.
Right.
Look into the global
Yes.
pandemic. If the world was not united, they can't never defeat such a big pandemic.
Right.
So there are lots of inequality, lots of discrepancies. We as a future leaders have to solve for our countries, but everything is interconnected
So
in
that
this
when you
world.
become the minister in Bangladesh, for
Bangladesh,
instance, I'm
Maybe prime minister.
So maybe just one practical example that we can give. Maybe, for example, if you just completed your education and haven't really been much into the workforce, you can give maybe an example or an instance where you were maybe head of your class in a project that you did, or you were a student leader where you had a situation, for example, maybe students had a particular problems or they had some needs that they needed to be solved, and then you were able to use your networking skills to be able to reach out to the alumni for them to support in that particular project or support in that particular activity that you're supposed to have. So all of that, just make sure that you bring in instances and concrete examples of how you were, because they are always very particular about giving concrete examples, especially if you are given issues about
case
your
studies,
networking.
guys.
Yeah.
Case studies.
Yeah.
Deeply important.
And about that, I think that it's also important to think that the scholarship program, it's not about helping you as a student from the developing country to achieve a better life. No, it's a bilateral relationship.
Right.
So they are giving you this scholarship and they expect something in return.
Give and take.
Yeah.
Because you have to return to your country.
Yeah, so when you do that, especially when you're talking about what you plan to do with your future plans, your future network initiatives, your future career plans, it's very important to try to connect that with why should the UK government give you this scholarship? What can you bring to them that is going to be interesting for them? So it's always good to think about this bilateral aspect of this relation.
Right. Interesting.
And
That's
sometimes they might ask you, what will you do when you go back home?
Yeah, so they would ask you about your plans.
Yes.
But I probably think, So the thing is, during the while you were writing the essay, you probably would notice that, of course, not even probably, you should know that the fourth essay is about your plans to return to your country,
Your career plans.
and your career plans. And the question is, when you return after your 1 year masters, what do you want to return for? What would you be falling back to? And that space is also another opportunity for you to say, you will be in the UK, you will have,
Develop your
your
skills,
network,
your
your skills and
academic
all. So you're returning to do one or two things, but you have to be practical. It's not like I want to return and become the president of my country. No, forget it. I mean, it is realistically impossible for me to return to Nigeria and be president immediately. I mean, that's Chevening is. I mean, they know that that's never gonna happen.
I mean, you can dream, but not
Yeah.
now.
So it's
Not in 1 year, maybe 15.
I mean, so you should,
So for me-
and some would sound cliche to say, "Oh, I'll return for a PhD." Yeah, we know, but
Don't pick
that's
things like that.
Yeah, just
But
practical about.
for me, when I was responding to my question, I made sure I had like a 5-year plan, no, a 2 to 3 year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan.
So you have short
same.
term,
Short-
midterm,
short-term and
and then
long-term.
long-term. plan.
So I was able
Exactly.
to say, when I go back home, I'll go back to the workforce and help or lecture at the University of the Gambia, because we have maybe inadequacies in terms of having professionals who can be able to take courses such as environment and climate change. That is like for the next 2-3, and then further develop the NGO that we have to continue to give capacity.
But really, I think that
5,
process
10.
just gives you an insight into understanding your own career
Vision
your
and
vision,
aim.
and yeah.
And
that-
I think it's also important to talk about these things passionately. If you don't believe that you can achieve
You have
it,
to show that you really believe in what you're saying.
I mean, they must see the reality. I mean, you must be you must be intentional about it. It's not just some a random interview. No, this is about you. This is about your future, and of course, how that would affect the world in a better way. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
It's for you, but we believe that one person at a time. So if you're able to latch on to the society to improve it, then it makes more sense.
So they might ask you, why Chevening of all the other scholarships?
Oh my.
This is where you have to kind of
or why UK?
Yeah.
Why
Chevening?
UK,
yeah. Of course.
I think I was asked a question about why I decided or choose to study in a UK
I
university.
can't keep calm. Because I can't keep calm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they asked me that as well.
they ask you. So here
It's-
here you can probably maybe look at you can have different dimensions of answering this question. You can look at the academic excellence of UK universities and maybe talk of some of these professors that have really inspired you.
Sorry. Most people would say they want to go watch Chelsea. That's pretty much a constant response. Because I want to go to Stamford Bridge, I want to go check. Good, but guys, that should not be the dominant factor.
I mean,
in
of
your
course you can
conversation.
mention that you want to do the Harry Potter tour, for
That's
example.
right.
But this is not all you
This is
plan
not just.
to
I mean,
do.
people will not just pay your tuition and ask you to come and be watching. No, that's not it. Yeah, I mean, you must priority ordering. It's really, really interesting. So, I mean, if I thought you can continue. Just
I'm sorry, that really made me laugh. So make sure that you have a priority. Make sure that because the academic experience is really very crucial. So make sure that you have your responses in a priority order. Talk about the reason why you're going for it. That is because UK has really good universities. Let it not be cliche shut up.
I mean,
Don't,
yeah.
but mention why. Give us the reason why you applied to the university.
I sort of think
Yeah.
most UK Chevening partner universities sort of have at least one thing that is unique about them.
Yes, they have.
I mean, it's either about your course. There will be maybe it's the ranking, maybe the faculty, maybe it's the school, of
The
course,
staff,
Sussex
maybe the
development,
research
student
they
life.
do
research.
there.
So there will be something about your school that is unique that you can shout about, that you can look forward to, and you have to. That means you must have done your research. I can tell you a million things about Sussex University, right?
Yes,
I mean, I can tell you because before I came here, I'm like, okay, no, this is what I want to do, and of course, I'm living the dream. So the most important thing is for you, as much as possible, to research about the school you go in and the environment where
be
the school.
very specific and personalization.
Right,
Everybody
personalized.
knows UK has world-renowned universities.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
But you are not going to study at every university.
Yes.
Not everybody go to
No.
Oxford.
Yeah, specifically mention
Or
the
ideas.
Right. So it's just for
If
you
it's
to.
development, they should come to
So,
Sussex.
of course, and that's where we
Yeah.
have over 90 Cheveners,
Yes.
and that's where we can.
Sussex.
So you just have to tell us why, and the diversity for me is key. For instance, in my course we're about 36 from about 20 something countries. I mean, my house, for instance, we're five different countries. So that's pretty much the diversity I want to experience. So you can latch onto that. Say, yeah, you want to have an experience of a culture other than your own. I mean, this is just it, guys. You're coming to the UK to explore. But the most important thing, apart from your studies, because they will ask you, how are you able to even manage? So they
Balance.
asked me
Yeah.
that they saw that I've done this and that, and there are some times where I've done, in a particular year, I've done like 2-3 things. That's how am I able to manage my academic rigors and other extracurricular activities. And I was like, yeah, not like, I'm like, yeah, sure, I can. If I have I can multitask in the most efficient way. And how do I do this? I have my priorities. So I know what I want to do in the morning. I know what I have to do tomorrow. I have that plan, and I know when to say no to tasks. But the most important thing is that my academics will not suffer, and that's the most important thing. You must let them know how you are able to manage priorities, which is really important.
Yes.
Trust me, guys. Trust me. Studying the UK is not joke.
Yeah, it's really intensive.
I mean, not at Sussex where you have deadlines. So you really have to let them know how you are able to manage all this. So you might want to share an experience of when you are at the university, where you are attending classes and you are also doing maybe student union or associations,
and student
or
ambassador work.
student ambassador. So I mean, you
No,
probably
I mean,
want to
walking
like add
is very
all that,
important
right?
a part of like UK life. I
Yeah,
think.
so it's just important for you to be able to let them know how it's. I mean,
You're
how
able
you are
to-
able to manage all that together, so you don't, that's what they are expecting, from that kind of a question. And I think we've actually modeled about 5, things together in this question.
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
So, yeah.
So I think we have been able to really touch almost all the key areas
Yeah.
as far as the interview is concerned. So we hope that this is going to be a very useful, at least, interview tip for all of you that are
And
watching.
you guys can post. I can't keep calm.
Yes, I can't keep calm. So yeah. So another thing that we want to bring in, this will probably be our final tip that we've given, is a question that you will be asked or might be asked about how your course, that is the program that you have chosen to do while in the UK, is linked to maybe some developmental issues or maybe certain challenges that is in your country, and how you hope that course is going to have an impact. So for me, because I have been working on climate change issues, I mentioned that the Gambia is a country that is really vulnerable to the climate change threats, especially sea level rise, and I passionately brought in the issue of me living in a city that is very vulnerable to 1 meter sea level rise, and I talked about how this city is a home to many people, and if this city inundates, it means a lot of people will lose their lives and their livelihoods. So this was how I brought in my point, and I mentioned that coming here and doing this masters will help me equip myself, because we have really low or inadequate human capacity as far as the climate change domain is concerned. And I said, if I do this course, I go back home, I'll be able to use it to at least be able to address some environmental challenges that we're having. So I guess, Kazi, you were also asked the same question.
So I was also asked the same question, and since I work in agriculture sector, so I particularly mentioned that how much lives I have like impacted, and how like the degree on food and development or agriculture and development is going to make me equipped to take on the challenges, so that like the climate change issues she talks about, it also impacting my country's agriculture sector.
Yeah.
And food being such an important thing, it can cause instability in a region.
Yeah.
So that is why I have focused on those issues, and also talked them about in my interview, that why my studies are going to be beneficial for my countries, and how am I going to impact people's life with the knowledge I'm going to gain from UK.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have been able to look at some of the major questions or major areas that you might be asked during your interview.
That we think, because according to our experience.
Yes, exactly. It's just based on our experience. It's just a disclaimer. So just maybe now to wrap it up, we just give our final tips to people that are going to have any interviews.
Right.
So Tunde?
Guys, keep it cool. Be intentional, be original. You don't have to be apprehensive about it. I can imagine that you'll be like, oh, what will it look like? No. If you indeed wrote the essay yourself and you've done all the things you said you've done, then you don't have to bother about getting it wrong at the interview. They are human, and they will definitely make life comfortable for you. They are not set off. They won't even scare you out. Just be cool. Don't be apprehensive. And the most important thing is be intentional, be original.
Right.
All the best, guys.
So I would say that the most important thing about the whole interview situation is that your story has to make sense. Both your story, your history, and your past experiences, and what you plan to do in your future. And all of this has to be connected, and it has to make sense. So as long as it makes sense, I think you're good. So like Tunde said, just keep it cool, and congratulations to getting this far, getting this far in the process.
Yeah, it's a really big thing. Kazi?
I think it's very important that you understand this 30-minute can change your life. So be sure that you show your best thing, and not only that, really keep calm, just
So that you can't keep calm.
so that you can't keep calm.
Right.
So just maybe final tips from me is the one thing I'll say is be confident about everything that you're going to do, be it you're having your interview virtually or in presence or in person. So make sure you are very confident and be very comfortable. Sometimes the chair that they might give would be too big for you to be able to even sit properly. So be very comfortable, because I had that problem, because the chair was big and then I wasn't really comfortable in the first place. So make sure you're comfortable. And the second thing, if you realize that you're a little bit stuck along the way, they usually have a glass of water. Try to make sure you just take a sip and act like you were just enjoying the process.
Yeah.
So I would want to repeat what all of my colleagues said,
Like
but
glass
be
of
confident,
red
be bold, and try to prepare. Have a
Yeah.
mock interview at least with
read
maybe your
instructions,
friends and family.
and of course that's why we're having this. So
Yeah.
refer to this as much as you can. There are a lot of tips across the internet. Just do the research. Most important thing, guys, read your instructions clearly, please.
Yeah.
I mean, read your instructions. If you're doing virtual, ensure you have more than one internet connectivity available for you. And
Yeah. So it's a bye from the Chevenings from the University of Sussex.
the
So
first in development studies in the world.
yay! Go Sussex! So thank you so much, guys, for watching. We hope this is useful for you. And
We have two Chevening scholars behind the scenes.
yes, shout out to our videographers.
Steven Money
Lights.
from South Sudan.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
light.
Shout out to you all. It's a bye. Thank you very much for watching the video. I'm very much hopeful that the information that we provided here will be in one way or the other very much helpful for your interview. In case you have specific questions, we are very much happy to respond to them. So our social media handles will be there and you can reach out to us privately. Thank you very much and see you in the UK in September 2021. Bye.